I get into an exercise to let people explore their own idea of happiness, because it is not always one thing for everybody. And in your book, you talk about 6 factors that can lead to happiness. And I'm going to, in fact, ask all of you, some of you may have already done this exercise. If you have done it, all the better, because it will be some amount of repetition, which is what makes it into a habit. So I'm going to show you, I hope I can share my screen. I'm going to show you the 6 factors that can lead to happiness. And for some of you, it may be something totally different. But I'm going to ask you all to maybe have a pen and paper, or if you are not going to get distracted, you can use your phone to just make a note. I'm going to try to share my screen. Can everybody see it, Raj?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So love and connection, which includes relationships, or as well as activities where you feel connected with that activity. Joy, we all know about joy, a feeling of a true deep feeling of happiness. Authentic pride, which is when something is challenging and you take up that challenge and you meet that challenge, something you've decided you would do, and then you end up doing it, and then you feel an authentic sense of pride. That can lead to happiness. The next one is hubristic pride, which is about, wanting to be superior, wanting to be the best. And just because you're better than others, you feel the pride. So without any judgment, some people may, in fact, have their happiness level increase because of hubristic pride. Harmony is being in sync with what is going on in your life right now, being in sync with whatever activity you are doing right now, to feel that this is the right thing. Abundance, so that is about feeling whatever it is, that's enough. Like I don't need to pursue money anymore. What I have, I'm happy with it. Or it could be even love and connection and joy, or whatever it is, that I have enough of it. That doesn't mean you're not going to work for more. But again, it's the same thing. Life is, I'm perfect the way I am, but there's always room for improvement. Or there could be something totally different that you may find gives you happiness. So I'm going to ask you all to think about which factors, 2 or 3 factors, that are most important to you, that can lead to you feeling happy or happier. And if you can write a sentence, 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, in other words, write it in a sentence form that includes these factors, like how they make you feel. If you can write a sentence, 1, 2 or 3 sentences. And if there is any question about it, can you please write it in the chat box? And Elena, can you tell me if somebody is not clear about this exercise?
I have a few questions about the hubristic pride, because some people are saying here that isn't it supposed to be a negative thing?
Yes, but that doesn't mean it leads. Yeah, we are not talking, as I said, there is no judgment here. Some people, I mean, these factors have come up because of researchers in the happiness field. When they ask questions to people, these are the common factors that have come up. And Raj has added harmony and abundance to it. So again, without any judgment, yes, but we'll get to whether it is negative or not and what it does to you. We'll get to that later. But regardless, sometimes, being better than others may give you a sense of happiness.
There's also a question, what's the difference between happiness and joy?
As I said, when you say happiness, you're talking about the short term and the long term sense of well-being, sense of fulfillment, and all those different things. So it's much bigger than joy. Joy is feeling of excitement, or feeling of in like the warm feeling that we get when we are, let's say, talking to a person who we really feel connected, you feel a sense of joy. Or those of you who are parents, your child does something that you are proud of, you feel a sense of joy.
So
Swati, could you?
I would characterize joy as, not having a care in the world. Okay, a good example of that might be, I don't know if you can remember this, but right after the exam period is over and the whole summer is stretching in front of you, 2 months of nothing to do, not a care in the world, that's joy. And you can think of happiness as an umbrella term that captures all these other emotions under it. And as Swati mentioned, this is from research by Dr. Keltner and Barbara Fredrickson on different kinds of positive emotions that people experience. And they had people write a short essay to the prompt. Think about the last time that you felt really positive, what happened. And then they analyzed what people had written. And what they found is that people typically write about love and connection. That's the most popular category, but people also write about things that made them joyful. People write about things that made them grateful, hopeful, awestruck. People write about funny things that happened that has to do with laughter, and so on and so forth. And it turns out people do write about things that made them feel good because they perceive themselves as superior to other people. And that's called hubristic pride. And that, as Swati said, no negative judgments against things. But it turns out that hubristic pride isn't a very good thing to follow, because um, pride comes before a fall, as they say. The more you compare yourself to other people and feel good as a result of the comparison, there's a higher chance that you also sometimes come up short of them, lower than them. And so you're bound to feel miserable, insecure, maybe even jealous and envious because of it. So it's not a very good way to make your life happier. Authentic pride, which comes from comparing yourself to yourself, how I was in the past and how I overcame this challenge, that's a more sustainable source of happiness. And perhaps the most sustainable source of happiness is gratitude, expressing a sense of thankfulness and feeling really good about how well taken care of you are, either by other people or by luck and circumstances. And if you want to call it God, then by God. That, it turns out in the research, is a very, very sustainable source of happiness.
So gratitude, people may want to include it in other, or you can actually put it in love and connection or even harmony. Because gratitude, it's true that it's a very big factor of feeling a sense of happiness, a sense of harmony.
Sorry, could you please repeat the task once again?
The tasks. Okay, so think about which two or three factors are important to you that lead to happiness increase in your own case. And if you can write it down in a sentence form, such as, love and connection has always made me really happy, and overcoming my challenge and feeling the authentic pride has been a source of happiness for me. That's an example of putting it in a sentence form. So to write it, to make it clear to ourselves, that's the idea.
Right. So the idea here is, again, happiness is a very abstract concept. And if you think of happiness as, in more specific terms, as love and connection, or as joy, or as authentic pride, and so on, then it becomes more tangible. And the more tangible something is, the greater the chance that we are going to want to pursue it, because we can see it, right? We can hold it in our hands, so to speak. And so that's the idea. And it turns out that because of life stages, because of personalities, because of past experiences, different things are important for different people. For you, happiness might be this joyful feeling, of being lighthearted, even if you're doing something that's serious. That is what, for you, is the most important thing. For others, it might be a sense of love and connection. For still others, it might be a sense of, prayer and kind of transcendence into being united with God, if you believe in that. So you need to be clear about what it is, of all these different positive emotions, that is the thing that you value the most in your life. Okay. And once you have that clarity, then it becomes a little bit easier to actually pursue it, and or prioritize it, I should say, and to experience it.
So I'll give you a few minutes to write it down, and then we'll move on.
Uh, I see Patricia has raised her hand. I would encourage you guys to, if you don't feel like typing in your question in the chat box, which Elena is monitoring, just hold on to your questions, maybe write it down so that you don't forget it on your notebook or something. And then we will give you about 20 minutes right at the end for you to raise those questions.
Yeah, to actually talk.
I'm
So
really
now I want,
sorry, I
sorry.
just wanted to quickly say that a lot of people are typing in their own definitions of happiness and what makes them happy in the chat box, which is great.
Yeah,
These are going to be saved. And so, it'll be good material for us to reflect on later on.
later, yes. So now I'm going to ask you to think about a few activities that you do, real concrete activities that can lead to one of these factors, and as a result can give you a sense of happiness. For example, I had that, meeting my friends nowadays, maybe on Zoom, not face to face these days, but meeting my chat, talking to my friends, or helping my family members, or if you are a sports person, then sometimes whatever sports you play, and if you play a good game of that, then that gives you a sense of maybe authentic pride. Or if, let's say, you are into praying and chanting and these kinds of things, that may give you a sense of harmony. So any activity, actual activity that you have done, and that has given you this sense of one of these factors, and as a result a sense of happiness, can you write it down? Maybe just 2-3 activities or more if you're fast. And for as you're writing it, as you're writing the activities that gives you a sense of happiness, I would also invite you to think about if there are any limitations when it comes to choosing something or doing an activity that you like to do. If there is any limitation you can think about, which is something we can talk about later if you wish, but just to kind of think about what are the limitations. Yeah, I see people are writing their happiness, source of happiness. And yeah, so all through the day, there are times when we have to choose one versus the other. And sometimes we end up choosing something else other than what we know would give us happiness. So if you can think about 1 or 2 such situations lightly, that's also something you can write about. Okay, so now that you know this, I'm going to ask you to put your pen and paper away. And I would invite you all to pay full attention, to gather all your attention. Like Raj said, that when you do that, in fact, wandering mind is an unhappy mind. There is a famous study and paper. It's called Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind. But our mind does wander around, but let's try to focus on one thing right now. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and we are going to go through visualization / meditation / contemplation to see that what you have written, if you can allow yourself a deeper understanding and set the right intentions. That is the first thing we are going to do. We are going to set the right intention. So let's begin. And I'm going to have this gong to set the right tone. And take a few deep breaths. giving nourishment to the body, allowing yourself to experience the nourishment that's coming through the breath to your body. 2 or 3 deep breaths. And now allowing yourself to think about the factors that are important to you. The sentences that you wrote, if you can say those sentences in your mind, slowly and clearly saying those sentences in our minds. The sentences that involve the factors that lead to increased happiness in your life. Saying those sentences in your mind and allowing yourself, your mind to hover around those factors, allowing those factors to go deep in your understanding. What does love and connection mean to me? What does harmony mean to me? Whichever 2 or 3 factors you wrote, allowing your mind to hover around those factors, allowing your attention to be totally focused on those factors and see how it feels like to think about these factors or to have the attention going to these factors. How does it feel like in your body? How does it feel like when you say love and connection or whichever factor, authentic pride, or whichever factor, saying it to yourself in your mind and then paying attention to how it feels like in the body. Do you feel a sense of comfort, a sense of warmth in the tummy and the heart area? How does it feel like in the body when you say these words in your mind? And allowing yourself to think about the activities that you wrote and thinking about a pattern that may come out of those activities. It may tell you what your strengths are already. You possess some character strengths, such as you're empathic, you're thoughtful, or you are disciplined. Any character strength, or you are patient, or you are mindful, whatever character strength you may have, allowing yourself to think about that character strength. And you can place your hand, your palm on your heart area if you wish. Open your heart, open the gentleness, the compassionate part of you, and with that, viewing yourself and understanding, allowing yourself to think about your own strengths. These are the strengths that you will be applying to these factors to get these factors and then move more towards happiness. And now I'm going to invite you to set the right intentions, to make a commitment, to make a commitment to understand these factors and to make choices that fit into these factors as much as you can. I make a commitment to use my strengths to increase these factors in my life as much as I can. Without pursuing it, I make a commitment to make it a priority to increase these factors in my life. And in order to set the right intentions, I'm going to ask you to repeat these sentences in your mind as I'm saying it. May I be happy. May I be at ease with myself. May I experience joy. May I experience love and connection the way that makes me feel happiness. Love and connection with people and with activities, the way I want, the way that makes sense to me. So, whatever the intention is, the intention is a personal one. So, whatever the factor means to you, that is the right intention. So, may I experience joy? May I experience love and connection? May I experience harmony? May I experience abundance? And if there is anything else to which you would like to set the intention, you would like to practice it or do more of it, that will increase your happiness. I'm going to invite you to say that in a sentence. May I do this? Whatever it is that comes to your mind. And allowing yourself to deeply pay attention to what you're saying. Everything else is outside the door at the moment. It's you and your attention and your heart understanding these factors, paying attention to what you're saying. May I be happy. May I be at ease with myself. May I experience joy. May I experience love and connection. May I experience harmony. May I experience abundance. And now saying to yourself, may I pay attention to the challenges, if there are any, and may I come up with creative ways to overcome these challenges. Creative ways to overcome these challenges. May I prioritize happiness in this way, knowing that priority to happiness increases my own happiness level as well as the happiness of the people in my surrounding. And now, taking a few deep breaths again. Giving nourishment to the body through these breaths. And paying attention to the nourishment that comes to us through the breathing. And getting ready to leave this meditation exercise. You can open your eyes. And welcome back, everybody.